leadership development. I've got my friend Bill Bloom from Bloom Financial in Chicago, Illinois. Bill was connected. We were connected through our good friend Justin Breen, who we were just talking about off air just a minute ago and laughing about Justin and his quirkiness. Bill, man, thank you for joining us today, man. Honored that you're here. Take a minute and tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you got going on, my friend.
Absolutely, Ken. Super grateful to be here, first and foremost. Second, for all your listeners and viewers, what I do on a day-to-day basis is I help people not run out of money in retirement, which is, the number one fear of retirees. But also I'm a father. My wife and I, we have a 17-month-old little guy running around. So just really ingrained in becoming a better dad every day, making progress, and just being a happy guy.
Love it. Hey, talk to me about, obviously as an entrepreneur and a business owner with the passion to help other business owners. And even as you said just a minute ago, 9-to-5ers retire as they desire. Your website's retireasyouDesire.com. I love it. That's fantastic. Talk to me about where the passion came from and the desire to the purpose. We talked a lot about purpose off air. Where'd the purpose and the passion for you to be able to do something like this? Where did that come from?
It started when I was a kid. We had a really unfortunate experience where one of our friends' fathers passed away on Thanksgiving, and we're in 5th grade. It was super painful because they didn't have the proper planning in place. And I saw that firsthand as a kid, like, holy cow, if you don't do things the right way. I didn't know the magnitude of it at that time, but now as an adult and a business owner, I saw that, and it was pretty catastrophic. And when I went through college, I graduated in 2008, of all time, right? Financial crisis. And
right.
I knew I wanted to go into the financial world and help people learn better money habits and learn how to have a better system in place, how to automate things. And that's how I grew my business. And it actually translated into working with people who are 50 and older, whether you're a business owner or a 9-to-5er or an employee. There's nothing wrong with either side of that, but you have different needs. And that 9-to-5er, they want to stop working most of the time as soon as possible.
Right.
So that's where creating that passion and that purpose to create lifetime income for them so that they can do the hobbies that they want. Most people don't know the cost of what it actually takes to make that happen. So that's where I come into play.
Yeah, I love it, dude. So an experience when you had in the 5th grade. I mean, that's a couple of years ago, right? And that still is the passion that drives you out of bed every day. Talk to me about, you just released a book. The last couple of weeks, I've seen Justin and different guys, promote that and talk about it on LinkedIn. Talk about the book and about exactly your passion behind the book and exactly what the book is all about.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Ken. So The book is called Money Habits for Success. And I wrote this during the pandemic. This was a labor of love, as I say, during the pandemic. So it started in April, and I realized that there were so many people who are having trouble because they just got laid off, or COVID was really spreading. There was so much uncertainty in the world. So I thought to myself, how can I make an impact? And I wrote a really simple book for people to understand, whether you're a high school student all the way up to a baby boomer, to really understand your money habits. We spend unconsciously. We don't know where our money goes. Credit cards are too simple. Debit cards are too simple. Doing everything online is too simple. You don't know where your money is going every single day. And that's what really hurts all of us, realistically. So I created the book to teach people what a mortgage actually looks like, what credit card debt actually looks like, and how do you get out of those things, and how do you help yourself. And then we created the Your Money Journal for the application piece, to actually start keeping track, maybe one day a week. Just see where you're spending your money. I'm not saying every day, go slow and steady. Because if you say, I'm going to do it every single day, it's not going to happen. So, yeah.
So tell me, what are a couple, 2 or 3 habits? What are a couple, 2 or 3 habits people can get into, Bill, every week that will help them kind of take control over what they're spending and have an understanding of what stewardship really means and how they're managing their money?
Yeah. So number one is write down one day a week, start there, of how you're spending money. Like, we created this, the Your Money Journal, where you have a ledger in there. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It's not like the easiest thing to do, but that's where you're going to learn, because something magical happens when you write things down. Just like you were saying, you write down your goals and your gratitudes. I do the same thing every day. But something also happens magically when you write down your spending habits. And then another thing is try and automate your investing and your savings. Make it automatic and pay yourself first. So 2 and 3 go hand in hand with each other. Make it easy, because investing is hard. It's fearful, but in my opinion, it's really scary not to invest, because then you're going to have to be dependent on others. And that's what we don't want. You want to be self-sufficient.
Do you have a formula when you talk about automate your investments, automate your savings, pay yourself first? Do you have like a, 80, 20, 40, I've heard all kinds of different numbers. What do you suggest and advise your clients to do?
So it comes down to your fixed expenses first. Again, that's not sexy. It's not fun to talk about. It's not returns in the market, which every other person in the world wants to talk about. I break it down in a simple formula. What are your monthly expenses? We'll start there. What's your mortgage, car payment, so on and so forth. And then which ones can you eliminate? Which ones are not necessary? And then what are you making every month? If you're a business owner, that's going to fluctuate, and that's fine. But if you're that 9-to-5er, what's your monthly income? And then look to create different habits that way. So you're reverse engineering your plan, and that's really where the magic happens.
How long, like when you're working with these clients, writing down what you spend at least one day a week, automate your investment and your savings. How long do you see, Bill, when you work with clients before that they have that aha kind of, oh, okay, I'm understanding and getting exactly where we're going?
It's 3 months to 6 months, generally in that time frame, because you need to make it a habit. Just like you write down your goals every day. I do the same thing. Once you start getting into that, you're going to be more interested in your money. You're going to be thinking, where's my money going? Where's my money? Where should it be going? You're going to start asking yourself questions, and your brain's going to start working in a much better way.
Yeah, I love that. So write down what you spend a couple times a week, automate investment and savings. What else? Maybe what's one or two other things, Bill, that you would advise people to do that you work with your clients on?
I love telling people, retire as you desire. That's our motto. That's our logo. That's the whole 9 yards. But write a list of things that you want to do with your life. And this is not when I'm sitting in front of them. I don't sit down in front of someone and say, write down all your goals. I tell them, spend some time with your spouse or with yourself or your significant other. Write down what you want to do, and let's start creating plans for this. That's when we're going to have our next meeting. And then the next meeting, how can we afford to do these things? How can we make that happen? You need extra income every single month to do this, because you want to do it once a week, like golfing or whatever the case may be. I work with a lot of boaters. So how do you afford your boat? How do you have one in Florida or one here? And we're able to do that. You just need to customize it for yourself. And that's how we work.
Yeah, I love that. So what's the craziest thing somebody said they want to do when they retire?
Ooh, so someone said, I want to travel every single day of the year. Like, I want to be on vacation 365 days. And that's not easy to plan for.
Right.
Not easy.
So you guys had to work it to be able to get to that place. So retire as you desire. Write down what you're spending. Automate that investments and savings. What else?
Yes, and then think about what your purpose is and your passions from an individual standpoint. Is that volunteering time? If you retire from the workforce, are you going to join a nonprofit? Are you going to give back? Do you want to spend time with your grandkids or your children? Do you want to travel? I think that's the most important part that people miss. The money is a byproduct of how we want to live our lives. It's not everything. You could stop working, but 7 days a week, 24 hours, you're on vacation, right? For the rest of your life. And that's potentially for 30, 40, 50 years, because we're living longer now. So you really need to have things to do. It sounds so simple, but a lot of people, their passion was their work. And once that stops, they don't see the people at the office every day. They miss that. I know people who have become sad from that. They miss that engagement because they don't have a lot of friends or connections. So that's why I have people write down their goals. What do you want to do? And then we incorporate that so that you could have a smoother transition into your purpose-filled retirement.
I love it. I had a friend of mine who sold his business, Brandon, sold it for $154 million. And he talked about how afterwards, I think he 98, 99 million in the bank. He said he just crawled up in the fetal position for about 2 or 3 weeks and cried in the floor because nobody needed him anymore.
Exactly.
Like he had achieved the American dream, but nobody was calling him and asking him questions. So how do you help, obviously with the passion and purpose, how do you help people transition through that and see that coming before it hits them, Bill?
Oh my gosh. Here's a perfect example. Like this Saturday morning, I'm bringing in experts who work on this to help talk to my clients. So you delegate that, you lack of better terms, outsource that, but I'm collaborating with other people. These are financial advisors who have been in the industry for 30, 40 years, and they've retired out of that phase, but they saw it themselves. So they created another company, and these are strategic coach people. So people after my own heart, and we bring in people and speakers to help educate and help people learn how to make those transitions. And that's super powerful. So we incorporate others to help with that process.
I love that. Talk to me again. We talk about mindset and strategy a lot here on our Growth Stack Drive podcast. Talk to me about the mindset of stepping out to start your own financial firm, to step out and help people retire as they desire. I love the tagline of the website. That's perfect. Absolutely love it. But talk about the mindset and the grit that it takes to, he said, that it takes to be able to be an entrepreneur.
Well, how much time do you have? But to be frank with you, Ken, when I started in the financial world, I was 22, going on 23. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week. It was really difficult because they want you to call all your family and friends, and those run out quick. You have to figure out new ways to create an income for yourself because I had no salary. It's really hard. And then it gets better. When I was 28, that's when I started Bloom Financial. I lost all my clients. I lost all my revenue. I had not one penny of income. People would say, you're nuts. And I say, it's partially true, but in a good way.
That's right.
But I knew
there's a little bit of nuts in every entrepreneur.
Oh yeah. I mean, Justin said in his post the other day, everyone's had like a traumatic experience or a family event or whatever it may be. And it's so true. In my opinion, we see that all the time. But for myself, I knew I had a bigger purpose to help people and do different types of planning with them. Because when I left the other firm and started my own, we had more independence. We had more opportunities. We had more planning opportunities for our clients. And that was so powerful. And it was worth the wait to get some of my clients back. But it also helped me refocus my time. And that's when I joined Strategic Coach, when I lost all my revenue. And that was not an inexpensive thing to do. But I had the mindset knowing that I wanted to create a bigger and better future. I didn't know it at the time, but I knew I was missing something. And my purpose and my passion led me to go out there and do that. And Strategic Coach really put the foundation into place for me to grow my business, but also myself. Because if I'm growing, the people around me are growing, like my wife, my team, and my clients. That's what's so important to me.
Talk about John Maxwell calls it. I don't know if you're familiar with John. He's wrote several New York Times bestseller lists or bestseller books on the subject of leadership. But in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, he talks. The first law is the law of the lid. It's the law of the lid. As the leader grows, if you're on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're a leader that's a 7 or 8, you're never going to attract 8, 9s, and 10s. You're only going to attract 4s and 5s, and people can get close to where you are, but you have to grow. Talk about that process for you, and then how you're intentional in helping your team grow as leaders as well.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to not micromanaging and have to be on top of them for everything. In my opinion, that's how I run my business. So we're doing a new website right now. I'm not touching it. I'm not doing it. I'm not involved.
Right.
My team is. They're doing that. They handle all of the marketing, all the Zoom stuff, all the events. The one thing as a business owner that you want to focus on are the 2 to 3 things that you're really good at.
Right.
because you only have them.
Right.
Don't kid yourself. We only have those couple things that we're really, truly great at. And you have to build a team around that. That's where you're going to see growth. And I really believe in investing in yourself, like your program, strategic coach, there's a bunch of them out there. But if you're growing as a human being, the people around you are going to be forced to grow.
Yeah.
And if they're not, they're going to be replaced with other people.
Right. I love that. One of the things we always say is to delegate authority. We delegate, we don't dump. But delegate authority and give people permission. You said don't micromanage. Give people an opportunity. We delegate, we don't dump. We delegate authority. Give people an opportunity because they have that entrepreneurial in them as well. They're creators as well. Give them an opportunity to run with a website. Give them an opportunity to run with some and part of that business. What do you do with your team right now specifically for that leadership development? Bill, is there something you have them on a plan? Do y'all read books together? Like I've got my entire team right now. We're going through Outwitting the Devil from Sharon Lecter, Napoleon Hill book. Talk to me about what that looks like and how that's made a difference on your team.
Yeah, so we really, really enjoy using from a hiring standpoint to understand how someone's minds work is the Kolbe test. That's what we've used.
Yep.
That's been huge, huge, huge. I will not hire someone unless they take the Kolbe and if they're a right fit candidate. And that way I understand how they operate. And that way you're able to set the parameters for that role to go out and do those things that they're good at. So that's where I think leadership comes into play, is understanding that other person and how they want to work. If I'm bothering my team every 5 minutes, I'm going to drive them crazy, right? But if I understand they can keep up with that, that's a different story. If we need to do something quickly, you need to know who to send that project to and take that off your plate. Right. That's where the Kolbe comes into play. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, one of the things I teach my one-on-one business clients across the country is I call it's things only I can do. So I have them for 3 days in the first week that we're doing one-on-one coaching with. I have them for 3 days write down everything that they do. Like if you go to the bathroom, I want it on the list. If you put a stamp on an envelope and walk in the mailbox, I want it on the list. Because everybody thinks I don't have enough time. I remember I've got one client in Europe. She's an attorney with 5 offices around the world. Whew. And I had Lena walk through. She works in the cargo shipping industry, and I had her walk through this exercise, and she's Lithuanian. And so she's like, damn it, Ken, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. And I'm like, I promise you, you're wasting more time than you think you are. And I walked her through this exercise, and she wrote everything down for 3 days. We added up the average time. She has 10 hours on her calendar. We teach a calendar blocking system with 4 color codes. And I walk her through this exercise, and it was 8.5 hours. Whoa. And dude, when she had that light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, I'm wasting an hour and a half every single day. It was transformational, transformational for her. Talk to me about as a leader, Bill, talk to me as a leader, not necessarily financial, but really just an entrepreneur as a leader of an organization, about helping equip people to operate in their strengths and in their passions. You talked about that Kolbe test. We do Myers-Briggs, Strength Finders, and DISC Profile. So those are very similar, but those are the things that we do to kind of understand how each person on our team ticks. But talk to me about how you take and try to put them in their strengths or in their sweet spot.
Yeah, so the Kolbe is huge for me and my team. But secondly, asking them what motivates them. Let's take a second and think about that. You ask someone else to tell you what they want and listen. I think asking your team questions, is it money? Is it time off? Is it a 529 plan for their kid because they're worried about their college? What drives them? What motivates them? And as a leader, you need to sort of know those things. Maybe not for every single one of your employees, but maybe your managers need to know that. And that's how they hire. And that's how they reward their team members. And if they're driven by money, set up a compensation plan. Give them incentives, right? If it's more about vacation time, well, hit these parameters and you have this vacation time. You can be creative. There's nothing set in stone. So as a leader, try and understand your team and then create incentives for them, because that's going to make them happy. They're going to make progress towards their goals, and that progress leads to happiness.
Out of all of those things, Bill, that you mentioned, time off, vacation, family, compensation plan, college, what do you see as the overriding thing that people really want?
I think they want appreciation. I think they want to feel appreciated, because all those things, they're different for everyone. But if you listen to them and reward them, they'll feel appreciated. They'll be grateful. And grateful is the most important thing about all of this. So I think it's just being able to listen to them and make them feel appreciated. And that's true about your spouse. It's true about your family. It's true about your friends. It's not just about work. It's about everything in life. It could be about your kids. How do you make others feel appreciated? That's so important to me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. One of the things I mentioned, my friend Brandon, who sold his company for about $154 million back in 2016. One of the things he did is he implemented a thing called PPFs, which is personal, professional, and financial goals. So in the hiring process, he asked each employee to come to the table with 2 to 3 personal, professional, and financial goals. So we've adopted that. And so what we do is we do our bonus or incentive structure is based around how Brandon did that. It's very similar to what you said. Then one of the stories that he heard, he said on one of his podcasts was he had a single dad who had 2 or 3 kids, and his one of his PPFs was he wanted to take his kids to Disney. And Brandon goes, okay, if you help us meet this metric in your department, put a budget together. Brandon said, I want you to put a budget together. So the guy did the legwork of putting a budget together on what it would cost to take him and his kids to Disney for like 7 to 10 days, put a budget together, went back, met with Brandon on that PPF. They hit a metric. Brandon basically paid for, not a spot bonus or a cat, but basically took his family and paid for their whole trip, because that was one of his goals. And I think when we do that with people that work on our team, and what we're saying is, hey, Bill, I'm just as interested in your goals, personally, professionally, and financial, as I am asking you to be invested in our goals and our vision in our company. Talk about what that's done on your team and the synergy that it's created and the culture that that's created on your team.
Well, it's allowed me to, unfortunately get rid of some people on the team,
right?
Because they were not engaged in that process, right? And for my other team members, it's just made them happier. It's great because I get a chance to work with other people. And when they tell me, oh my gosh, your team is so happy, they're so friendly, they're so helpful, that's when I know we're doing great things, when we're getting really great feedback from our wholesalers, from our other people, and not just clients. It's all the people who we have contacts with, even home office people.
Right.
That's powerful.
Yeah, I love that. What's the best way for people to connect with you, Bill? And what have you got coming down the pipe in the future?
Oh boy, we have a lot of things. So, the books just came out, Money Habits for Success and Your Money Journal. They're both available on Amazon, so please get your copies. Shameless plug, have to do it.
No, you're good.
But I'm a big believer in having events and getting people together. And during this pandemic, it's been very hard. But we're going to be having like a professional golfer come teach our clients and other people about their short game in golf going into the spring. Like, we're having these speakers talk about, making that transition into retirement, and, the mental issues you may have or the social issues you may have, which they happen, to try and help people cope with those things. So it's not just about the money. Again, the money is a byproduct of how you want to live your life. So we have amazing events coming up, and if you'd like to be added to them, we're happy to have you. There's no cost. We just like being around great people, grateful people. And the best way to get a hold of us is email is the best way to do that. Email is bill@bloomfinancial.us. And you can go to retireasyouDesire.com or bloomfinancialco.com. All of them work, my friend.
I love it. RetireasyouDesire.com. Bill, thank you for taking some time and spending time with us, talking about the not just even the financial realm or the financial aspects that you help clients with, but really the mindset to be able to create and be an entrepreneur and start a business, to step out with, as you said, no clients, not a single penny in income coming in. And you did all that, and you built a phenomenal business in Chicago. RetireasyouDesire.com, guys. Man, check my friend Bill Bloom out on Instagram as well. Bloom Financial, correct?
That's perfect.
Yep. Bloom Financial on Instagram. Follow Bill. Man, listen, we try to every day bring on people in a variety of different spaces who are really crushing it and have a heart and DNA to help other people win. And Bill, man, we're glad that you joined us today and honored that you spent some time with us today and with our audience, my friend.
So grateful. This has been amazing, and look forward to talking to you again, Ken.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us on our Grow Stat Job podcast. I'm your host, Ken Joslin. Join us again tomorrow at noon Eastern time for our next podcast. Bill, have a blessed day, my friend.
You too, my friend.